Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 1 of What If Naruto has Pokemon summons. If you guys enjoyed this what if, then comment, like and subscribe. Let's go. Also, the video goal is 10 likes. So, let me know that you're interested in the series and you want the next part. Then go ahead and check out the other what ifs in the channel. Before we start, please do support for more awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and also share the video with your friends and link in the description. So, let's go. To-san, Ka-san, Mito-chan. Came the excited shout of a young girl who looked to be about 8 years old. She had red hair that was tied into 2 short pigtails. She also had deep, clear cerulean blue eyes and a heart-shaped face, which possessed 3 whiskers on each cheek. She wore a loose red shirt with an orange toad on the front. Her excitement was due to her feet sticking to the surface of a tree after multiple failures of doing so. Before anything could be said, a red blur grabbed the young girl from the tree and did 2 things. Squeeze her tightly to a point she had trouble breathing and spin her around so fast the young girl thought she would puke. The red blur was none other than Kushina-Uzumaki, the young girl's proud mother. "I'm so proud of you, dear. You will become a really strong kunoichi very soon. Your mother is right, Nami-chan," came the proud voice of her father, Minato Namikaze, the Yellow Flash and 4th Hokage of Konoha. Next to him was another girl that looked to exactly like Nami and also looked to be about 8 years old. In fact, the only difference between the two was that her hair was tied into a ponytail and instead of blue eyes like her father, she possessed the violet eyes of her mother. This young lady is Mito Uzumaki Namikaze, twin sister of Nami Uzumaki Namikaze. "Yes sis, I knew you could do it." She cheered for her younger twin by 6 seconds. She had got the chakra exercise down yesterday and was waiting for her dear sister so they could advance together. After finally gaining her balance from her mom's spinning hug of death, Nami grinned at her twin. "Yeah, now we can both continue to get stronger and become super powerful kunoichi." The family were then seen talking and playing together happily. To anyone looking at this, then it was the epitome of a picture-perfect family. A loving and proud father, a caring and slightly overprotective mother, and 2 close siblings that loved each other dearly. There was only one problem for this picture: not all members of this perfect family were participating in this loving moment. In fact, the missing family member was watching the whole interaction from a window in the living room. The person was a young boy who was about a year older than the 2 twins. He had spiky blonde hair, similar to his father Minato's, with the tips being blood red in color. He had 3 whisker marks on each cheek, making him look like a fox. His eyes showed that he was heterochrome due to his left being an ocean blue, but his right being a deep violet. He wore an orange jacket that was wide open with the trademark spiral of the Uzumaki on the back and a black shirt underneath. He also had red anbu pants and blue shinobi sandals. This young man was Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, the neglected son of Minato and Kushina. Naruto was neglected for his younger sisters. This was due to 8 years ago, Konoha was attacked by the Kyuubi no Yoko. The powerful Biju was forced to attack Konoha by a man who wielded the powerful Sharingan eye of the Uchiha clan. Minato fought the masked man and freed the Kyuubi from his grasp with the help of Jiraiya, who had come to check on the birth of the twins at the time, having missed Naruto's birth because of his spy work. The former 3rd Hokage, along with every available shinobi, held the Kyuubi off as best they could. The Kyuubi, in his anger and still slightly hypnotized state, began to charge a Bijudama to obliterate Konoha off the map, but due to Minato's appearance and use of his Hiraishin, was able to teleport the attack away from the burning village. Jiraiya appeared with a battle toad and pushed the Kyuubi back before Minato appeared alongside the boss toad, Gamabunta. Together they were able to force Kyuubi away from the village and into a safer place for their battle. The fight was long and difficult and the Kyuubi easily showed why it was the strongest of the tailed beasts by not only beating the boss toad, but also the battle toad Gamaken and tossing Minato and a sage mode Jiraiya around like kittens. Knowing they couldn't win the fight, Minato left to get his daughters and Naruto so he could seal the Kyuubi away once again. After a brief argument with his wife and Tsunade, who was the only reason that Kushina was still alive alongside her blood as an Uzumaki, he teleported back to the battlefield to see Kyuubi defeat another battle toad Jiraiya summoned named Gamaken. Acting quickly, Minato used the Reaper Death Seal and summoned the Shinigami himself to seal the Kyuubi. Thanks to the help of the Death God, the Kyuubi was split into 3 parts: the yin chakra which went into Nami, the yang chakra which went into Mito, and the soul which went into a still confused but scared Naruto. Due to the soul having so little chakra, Naruto didn't have to worry about a chakra overload. Ready to have his soul taken, the Shinigami allowed Minato to survive, much to the shock of Jiraiya and the 4th Hokage. The reasoning he gave was that things were being put into motion, and his soul was not needed, but to not expect him to be lenient the next time they meet. Afterwards, Minato told the people of Konoha what happened and told them that his daughters were the heroes of Konoha for holding the beast's power from him. This caused the crowd to cheer for the now dubbed princesses of Konoha. When the twins hit the age of 3, Minato and Kushina began to train them to be able to control the Kyuubi's violent chakra, completely leaving Naruto out due to him not being as special as his sisters. It wasn't just the training that they neglected him from, it was also everything that came with being a family. Birthdays, family outings, family meetings, even dinner sometimes. When he wanted something and the twins wanted something else, well, you could guess what happened with Naruto's choice. Even his own sisters didn't give him much attention, but at least they tried compared to his parents. The villagers on the other hand were far worse, due to them believing that Naruto was the demon fox that destroyed their village. They would either glare at him, curse him to death, and attack him on rare occasions. Those who knew Naruto wasn't the Kyuubi, but attacked anyway, believed by hurting the vessel then they were hurting the fox itself, and that was good enough for them. That's not to say everyone treated Naruto badly, he actually was able to make some friends within the village. He had the Hyuga clan, after stalling the Kumo Jonin long enough for Hiashi to incapacitate him and saving Hinata. He also had the backing of the Uchiha clan when Itachi found Naruto bleeding from one of the attacks by the villagers, and took him home to be cared for. He stayed for 2 days and became close friends with both Sasuke and Satsuki Uchiha, Itachi's little brother and sister. His family didn't even notice he was missing. He was also friends with both Ayame and Tyuki Ichiraku, a daughter-father ramen stand owner who fed Naruto from time to time, and even the 3rd Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi, who helped train Naruto in seals from time to time. After hearing his parents laugh when Nami fell off the tree on top of Mito, Naruto's eyes narrowed in anger. He just, while not hating them, yet did not like being ignored. He no longer saw any of them as his family, yet still cared for his sisters slightly. He rarely ever refers to himself as Uzumaki or Namikaze unless it's formal, which he hates formalities to begin with. Deciding he had enough of watching his sisters train while leaving him out, he left to his room, walking right past it. He walked past his sister's room as well until he reached the end of the hall and pulled on the rope hanging from the ceiling. A door opened up as a set of stairs descended down and hit the floor softly. These stairs led to the attic of the house. This was Naruto's playground. He conducted all his training in Fuinjutsu, jutsu theories, or even reading of high-grade ninja training here. The attic was very spacious, as can be found in some big houses. More than half of his weapons that he's gathered over the years have been stored here. Naruto pulled down the wallpaper for the attic and used the walls as shelves. There was also a window in the back that allowed light and air into the room. Also, unlike other attics, this one was clean, not a dust or even cobweb could be found. Walking to the left, Naruto placed a scroll that had a fire emblem on it, on the wall shelf. Fire style. Intelligent hard work is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, Naruto said out loud. What did you expect? You are a natural wind and water affinity, came a voice from above Naruto, causing him to look up at the one who spoke. The culprit who spoke was a strange creature that possessed blue skin and looked like a childlike canine. It had short black legs and torso, a blue tail, and a yellow collar. It had rounded bumps on the back of its forepaws, instead of hands. It wore a black mask, and had red eyes with black slit pupils. It wore a smirk as it stared at Naruto. Shut it, Ryolu, it just means that I have to train harder to get it down, after all I am trying to learn an A-rank jutsu. Yeah, but he does have a point, Naruto. You learn techniques by doing them right, not having the technique blow up like 15 times, came an amused voice that began chuckling. Following the voice's direction, he found the culprit laying near the window and basking in the glow of the afternoon sunlight. The one that spoke was a small slate gray, fox-like creature with red and black accents. Its ears were a triangular shape along with a large tuft of fur tipped with red on the top of its head. It has greenish, blue eyes with red eyelids. There are circular, red markings above the eyes that resemble eyebrows. Its muzzle is short and tapered with two small fangs seen protruding from the upper jaw. It also possessed a ruff of black fur around its neck and 4 short limbs tipped with red. It also had a short bushy tail. "Whatever Zorua, like you have any room to talk," Naruto snipped back while sticking his tongue out at the now-named Zorua. In response, the 3 occupants stared at each other for a moment before laughing at their banter to each other. As they laughed, Naruto thought back to when these 2 joined his life, the day he almost lost his smile. The best and worst day of his young life. Flashback 2 years ago. "Tu-san, Ka-san," yelled a 7-year-old Naruto who ran into the house, only to find the place completely empty. Looking around, Naruto saw the house not only clean, but not a single soul was there. "Tu-san, Ka-san, where are you?" Still no response. "Mito-chan, Nami-chan, are you guys home?" Nothing. Naruto continued to look around, but still found no one. Naruto ran up the stairs and down the hall to his parents' room, which was left wide open. Naruto was hoping to tell his parents about learning his elemental affinities from Hiruzen Jiji and maybe convince them to train him now with his sisters. He knocked on the door before entering the room, only to find it empty too. Deciding to look around the room, Naruto walked over to his parents' desk and noticed something laying there. It was a piece of paper that read Clan Air documentation. Being a curious child, Naruto read the paper. He was really smart for his age, even if he was a goofy kid, and was downright crying by the end of the paper. The paper read, "Due to circumstances of not only strength and political ingenuity, we, Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, head of the Namikaze and Uzumaki clans, hereby denounce Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze as clan heir of both clans and transfer the titles to Mito Uzumaki as head of the Uzumaki clan and Nami Namikaze as head of the Namikaze clan when they reach the age of 10. This is agreed upon by both clan heads. Minato Namikaze, Kushina Uzumaki." Naruto could not believe what he just read. He didn't want to believe what he just read. His clan heir status, the only real connection he had left emotionally to his family, has been taken from him. He couldn't take it anymore right now. He had to get away. So he ran so fast through the village that he didn't even register the glares or sneers of the villagers. He continued to run until he reached the training grounds where he normally trains it alone, Training Ground 3. "How could they do this to me?" Naruto cried mentally as the hot tears flowed down his whiskered cheeks. "I barely have anyone to call a friend, no one really gives me the time of day, and my parents don't even want me." Falling to the ground next to the big lake, Naruto curled into a ball as he cried harder. Due to all of his crying, Naruto never noticed the giant ripple forming in the lake, or the giant shadow that looked through the ripple with red eyes and black pupils before it flew off. The ripple lasted for a few moments before vanishing once again. A few hours later, Naruto woke up due to crying himself to sleep near the riverbank. As he got up, Naruto stretched and yawned before looking at his reflection in the water, seeing that his face filled with the indication of dried tears. Deciding to clean up his face before going home, Naruto bent forward to wash his face in the lake, only to trip on the wet ground and fall forward into the water. Before Naruto hit the water though, a ripple appeared in the water once again, and this time a loud roar was heard from it. This caused Naruto's eyes to widen in fear and only got wider as the water seemed to become circular and cave in on itself, exactly where Naruto was falling in. Naruto did the only thing he could think of in that brief moment. Scream out in fear and shock. "Ah, help," were his last words before the portal completely shut and the ripples on the water vanished, like it was never there in the first place. After falling through the hole in the water, Naruto found himself falling up from the lake. He landed safely on a patch of grass and took quick breaths from screaming so loud and with no breath intake. Getting up, he finally took notice of where he was at, which essentially meant he was clueless. For miles, the only thing Naruto could see was a thick fog. The only other visible thing to him was the cut grass and the lake behind him. Starting to get nervous again, Naruto looked around quickly and began calling out to see if anyone was around. "Hello? Is anybody there? Please, this isn't funny." Suddenly Naruto heard rustling of grass to his left. Quickly pushing down his rising fear, he looked to the source, but saw nothing there. Hello, is anyone there? He called out in a much quieter tone than before. This time the rustling happened again, and looking quickly he saw a patch of brown among the green grass. Hello, can you help me? The response to his question was for the brown patch to take off in the opposite direction from him. This caused Naruto to give chase after it and continue calling to it. Wait, stop. Please, wait up. After running what seemed like 30 minutes, but it was only 5 minutes, they exited the small grass enough for Naruto to see what he was chasing. It was a small, brown fox-like creature with primarily brown fur. The tip of its bushy tail and its large furry collar were a cream color. It had short, slender legs with 3 toes and a pink pad on each foot. It had big brown eyes, long pointed ears, and a small black nose. Naruto looked very confused, having never seen a strange-looking fox before in his short miserable life. It actually looks kinda cute, Naruto said mentally. You're really fast, you know that. He wasn't kidding, it took everything he had just to keep the little guy or girl in his sights. Let alone catch it. The fox's response to his question was to tilt its head to the side, as if not understanding his words at all. Eevee, was the response it gave to Naruto. Is that your name, Eevee? Naruto asked, only for it to shout Eevee one more time and run off at incredible speeds. Hey wait. But Naruto's shout fell on deaf ears due to the fox being out of sight already. Great, Naruto sighed. Now who can help explain to me what's going on? RRRRGGHH. Was the response that Naruto got to his question. The roar caused Naruto to jump 5 feet in the air out of fright. He looked up to see who the culprit was, and regretted that decision immediately. It was a large, almost as big as the Kyuubi creature with a serpent-like body, with 6 black ghostly streamers protruding from its back that also had red-tipped spikes at the ends. Instead of having 4 legs, the creature had 6 spikes on each side and 4 more additional spikes near the edge of its tail. It also possessed 3 gold half-rings that could probably grasp onto things tightly. It also had a golden arch on its forehead and a golden mask on its mouth. Its cold red eyes gazed fiercely at Naruto, who began to shake in fear. Who could blame him though? Here he was, a young boy who only just started his training and only knows tree walking in his elements. Now here's a creature, bigger than anything he has seen before. Not only that, but said creature just seemed to ooze power that made Naruto feel dizzy. Naruto in his fear, took an unconscious step back from the very intimidating creature before him. There is no way I'm just going to stand here and get eaten by this thing. Naruto yelled mentally as he tensed his muscles to run off to the surrounding fog. I could use the fog to cover my escape. Noticing his tensing muscles, the creature looked into Naruto's fearful eyes. You know, running would be pointless, young one, came a powerful voice that seemed to invade Naruto's mind. Naruto jumped up slightly from the surprise of the voice. He landed hard on his butt that caused Naruto to wince in pain. Ow, he said as he rubbed his butt. The creature seemed to chuckle at what happened. It found amusement in Naruto's fear. Yeah, very funny, Naruto mumbled before he paused in shock. Wait, was that you? He pointed at the creature that nodded its head. Yes, child. My name is Giratina, master of the reverse world and second in command of the Pokémon Contract, the creature now called Giratina responded. Naruto tilted his head to the side. In confusion. Pokémon. Reverse world. Seeing the confusion on Naruto's face, Giratina sighed at the lack of knowledge Naruto had, not that he could blame him. Giratina went into an explanation on Pokémon. Pokémon are summons of immense and diverse power. We each have our own typings such as water, fire, lightning, but he was interrupted by an excited Naruto. Kind of like the elements for jutsus. Yes, like what you use for your jutsu. We also have other elements though, such as flying, ground, poison, and dark. You wouldn't know of us due to us not having a summoner for a very long time. I could go into a whole speech as in why, but we don't have that kind of time. Okay, but what is the reverse world? Naruto asked curiously. Strange how he feels more relaxed with this giant, powerful, and admittedly scary creature than he does with other people. This is the reverse world. It's a world that exists on the opposite side of reality. It's a world connected to reality and is a wonderful place, though confusing for some. This is where the Pokémon of the contract reside now, kinda like how the toads have MT. Myoboku. Okay, but why am I here, Giratina sir? Naruto asked cautiously, even though he honestly had no clue what he meant. There was no way him falling into this world was a simple coincidence. The kid is smart, he's guarded and ready to act if he has to. By the way, his muscles tensed at his question, Giratina thought. To be blunt, Naruto, we want you to be our summoner. Naruto opened his mouth to question more, but Giratina continued. Our boss summon, Arceus, who is also my elder sister, has been watching you. She would be here talking to you, but she had a meeting she could not miss. She chose you because of your will, determination, heart, and your want to protect others, along with who your ancestor was. So Naruto-Uzumaki Namikaze, will you be our new summoner? Yes, I would be honored to sign your contract, sir. Naruto said, trying to stop his tears of joy. Someone else actually believed in him. Then Naruto, Giratina began in a warm tone. Welcome to the world of Pokémon, and with that the fog began to clear and revealed to Naruto the most amazing sight he has ever seen. Flashback end. After that, Naruto was given 2 eggs to raise by Giratina. These 2 eggs held Naruto's starter Pokémon that he had to raise for a bit till they hatched. 2 months after raising them, the eggs finally hatched. The blue and black stripped one became Riolu, while the black egg with red dots became Zorua. Ever since meeting Giratina and the Pokémon, Naruto has been training non-stop. He even goes to the reverse world often to be with the other Pokémon, instead of staying in the village. He learned so many different fighting styles from the fighting-type Pokémon, how to hunt and survive, and most importantly, how to battle like a Pokémon. You see, thanks to Giratina, Naruto is training to be an Aura Guardian. It turns out Aura is more of a gift for Naruto than Chakra was. They told him about the different Aura users and Aura Guardians there were, about how the Guardians kept the world in balance for all of Pokémon and humankind. Aura users had the capability to use any and all Pokémon attacks, but the Aura user had to train in the attack to raise its effectiveness. Also, the higher level of the attack, the more aura it burns, the more tired the user. Aura worked in a similar way to nature chakra. The user pulls in the aura of the element of the attack and mixes it with the aura of the user. The 2 auras then mix together and form the attack, with no use of hand signs. The more mastery of the attack, the faster it forms. The amount of aura each attack uses differ, the only real limit depends on the user's stamina. The more stamina, the more attacks that could be used. Right now Naruto could use basic attacks from each type, but using them too much will really tire him out. In Pokémon standards, he was about as strong as a level 15 Pokémon without the experience, so about as strong as a high genin in ninja standards. Speaking of ninja, he has not neglected his ninja training at all. He has learned the Academy Jutsu and could do them without hand signs. He also has 5C rank jutsus, 2D ranks water jutsus, and currently trying to learn an A- rank fire jutsu. Not much success. To anyone paying attention, Naruto is actually a genius to near prodigy levels, though bookwork is still not his thing. He practically soaks up information like a sponge, always training. Heck, it took his sisters 2 days to master tree walking while it only took him 30 minutes, and that's only because he had no one to teach him, along with having high chunin reserves of chakra at the time. So Naruto, what's the plan now that you start the academy in a week? Riolu asked the young blonde. Yeah, that's a good question. Zorua responded. You won't have all the free time to enter the reverse world anymore. Well, I'm honestly not too sure, but I know I won't be hiding everything, since that would leave me unwanted by the other Jonin instructors. This caused the 2 Pokémon to look at Naruto with a deadpan expression before saying simultaneously. Don't lie, the only real reason is because you want to show off. This caused Naruto to chuckle nervously and to rub the back of his head. Okay, you caught me. It doesn't hurt that I'll be beating the precious, golden twins, at everything too. Don't get Naruto wrong, he doesn't despise his sisters, but he doesn't like nor trust them either. The same could be said for everyone else in his family, he doesn't hate any of them. He's more numb to them than anything. As an Aura Guardian, it's best not to hate. Well, before that, we should go see what Lady Arceus wanted from us, since we will be late in 10 minutes, Riolu said, already walking towards the exit with Zorua next to him. Yeah, we should. Wait, what? Naruto responded dumbly before seeing the sun getting lower, signifying it to be late noon. Why didn't you say anything earlier? I don't want my first meeting with Lady Arceus to be bad. Naruto began to panic as he thought about Giratina. It's a well-known fact that Giratina did not tolerate tardiness of any kind. Adding to the fact that he would be meeting the main boss summon and someone even Giratina, who Naruto knows is very powerful, could not defeat. Because watching you scramble around like a combuskin with its head cut off is hilarious, Riolu said, chuckling as Zorua was holding his stomach as he laughed at Naruto. I hate you guys, Naruto responded as he narrowed his eyes at them. And we bathe ourselves squeaky clean with your hate, Riolu responded in kind, causing Zorua to laugh harder. Riolu began to follow suit as he too held his stomach from laughing so hard at the blonde, causing Naruto to glare harder at them. As hilarious as making fun of Naruto is, Zorua said, finally getting his laughter under control, though he could wipe the grin off his face. We really should get going. Yeah, you're right, let's go, Naruto responded, opening the window. Let's meet at our usual training ground. The two Pokémon nodded as they leapt out the window into the tree and made their way to the training ground. Naruto sighed as he put everything away and made his way down the attic stairs. After closing the attic, Naruto walked past the living room and looked to the backyard where his parents were still training his sisters. Naruto slipped out the house, no one knowing he was even home. After 10 minutes of running through the village, ignoring the usual glares, he arrived to the training ground where he saw Riolu and Zorua waiting for him. Naruto quickly flares his chakra, alerting them of his arrival, which both of them responded by dropping from the tree they were in and land next to the lake. Wordlessly, Naruto walked to the crystal clear water before putting his palm on the surface and flowing his aura through it. For a second, nothing happened. Suddenly the water collapsed in on itself and the portal to the reverse world opened. Naruto, along with the two Pokémon summons, quickly jumped into the portal and, like before, it closed without ever leaving a trace. Jumping down, a young man with black, raven-like hair appeared in the clearing. His coal-black eyes searched around before quickly turning red with 3 black tomos encircling the black pupil as he looked around. This eye change meant the activation of one of Konoha's 2 great dojutsus, the Sharingan, signifying this person as an Uchiha. This young man was Itachi Uchiha, the heir and prodigy of the Uchiha clan. Where did Naruto go? I know I saw him here, Itachi said out loud. Maybe he went further ahead, and with that he took off towards the trees to look for his surrogate little brother. The reverse world. Naruto and his partners landed on the ground softly and took quick notice of their surroundings, saw all kinds of Pokémon running around. Before Naruto could say anything, a brown blur quickly tackled Naruto to the ground as it squealed in joy. Eevee, Eevee, Eevee. Eevee, relax and use your words, Naruto said as he pet the brown fox. Sorry Naruto-chan, I was just really glad to see you guys, Eevee said, signifying it as a girl. We were just here yesterday, Riolu replied, amused by his friend's actions. Yeah, but, Eevee said and began to explain how lonely she was even though she has friends everywhere. Zorua zoned out the young talking Eevee and looked around, searching for Giratina. He opened the gate for them, so where was he? As soon as that thought crossed his mind, a giant and familiarly shaped shadow loomed over them. Looking up, they saw the ruler of the reverse world himself. Giratina. It took you long enough to arrive here, Naruto, Giratina said in a tone that obviously said, be careful how you respond. Deciding to be cautious so to not piss off a beast with enough power to wipe him off the face of existence, Naruto swallowed hard and responded. I'm sorry for keeping you, Giratina, I was training to learn a new fire jutsu and lost track of time. He bowed to show respect to the mighty beast. Giratina stared Naruto down to see if he was lying before sighing. At least you were being productive, now raise your head. Lady Arceus will be here in a moment. Naruto stood straight and Pokémon of all kinds, even the ever-excitable Eevee, stopped and looked up as they waited for the one that gave them life. They waited for 2 minutes in silence before a colorful portal opened in the air above the awaiting crowd. The portal released a stream of light that instantly made the slightly darkened sky light up in a burst of colors. Red, blue, green, yellow, the entire sky lit with a mesmerizing mix of colors that left Naruto wide-eyed and breathless. After a few moments staring at the beauty of the lights, a sudden pressure of power rushed at everyone. It was like being slammed by a steel staff right into the middle of your chest. It took a while before Naruto and everyone other than Giratina to be able to gain their bearings once again. The power was unlike anything they have felt before, it was both scary and divine. An orb of light burst through the colorful portal and flew through the sky with high speeds. After a few seconds, the orb grew larger and began to take shape. Soon the light faded and a creature as big as Giratina took its place. The creature was a white equine resembling a qilin or centaur with a gray, vertically striated underside. The striated pattern has similar recurrences on the underside of its mane, tail, and face. It had 4 pointed feet which possessed golden tips. The long mane juts away from its head and its face is gray, with green eyes and red pupils, and a green circular pattern below its eyes. It also has a streak of gold coloration on its head, and ears that point upwards. Its neck is fairly long, with 2 pairs of extrusions to the sides, and a flap-like feature on the neck's underside that is colored white like much of its body. It also had a golden cos-like wheel attached to its body by its round abdomen. The wheel also has 4 jewels attached to each of its corners. This being was Arceus, the Alpha Pokémon. The boss of the Pokémon Summoning Contract. The Kami of Pokémon and the only creature that could fight Kami herself on even grounds. Instantly, all the Pokémon around Naruto bowed down to show respect to the descending Alpha Pokémon. Naruto was so mesmerized by the mighty legend, that he could not move from his spot. Arceus giggled at the surprised look on Naruto's face. You know Naruto-kun, you might want to shut your mouth eventually lest you catch Zubats, Arceus said in a soothing tone. Naruto instantly shut his mouth and smiled at the giant Pokémon. It's an honor and pleasure to meet you, Lady Arceus. Naruto quickly bowed. Just call me Arceus Naruto-kun, she said, amused knowing of his hatred for formalities. Like you, I'm not one for formalities if I can avoid them. Naruto smiled at Arceus' choice of words. He knew right then and there that he was going to enjoy working with her. Of course, Arceus. Arceus smiled warmly at Naruto, she could get used to this. Better than being around Giratina all the time with his annoying rules and regulations. It's so annoying having to listen to his long list of annoying rules all the time. Not to sound rude, Arceus, but why was it that you called for a meeting with me today? Naruto asked curiously. Yes, let's get to business. Naruto-kun, I need to have you tested in battle, to see if you are ready for the higher levels. Some of the other legendaries, who have been watching you train, wish to train you themselves so you can get stronger and show the world our strength. Okay, but who will I be fighting? Naruto asked, confused, yet excited. Naruto not only had the legendaries wanting to teach him, but he gets to prove himself to them. I need you to eliminate a bandit camp for me. They recently attacked a village and are now hiding out in Fire Country. I want them dead. They have raped, murdered, and pillaged. The village, with its few members left, is thinking of sending help out to Konoha, but that's where you come in. I understand, Arceus, Naruto responded with a serious look on his face. His eyes went from a childish light, to a dim one that could be seen in the eyes of a hardened warrior. This test is meant for you alone, so I'm afraid Riolu and Zorua shall remain here. Am I correct to assume that you are well equipped already? Naruto nodded to the Pokémon god's question. Good, then your mission starts now. I'll teleport you there now. Arceus's green eyes suddenly glowed white as a white aura surrounded Naruto's body before he vanished in a flash of light. Turning to Giratina, Arceus smiled yet retained her serious attitude. So little brother, how do you think Naruto-kun will do? All of the Pokémon instantly turned to look at Giratina, especially Riolu and Zorua, for an answer. Honestly, I'm not worried at all. Young or not, Naruto is quite well trained and ready for those bandits, Giratina said, smiling back at his sister before looking up and frowned. Though there is one major problem. Arceus looked worried at his words. What's the problem? She asked him. Giratina's head snapped at her as a very annoyed look came upon his face. You left your damn portal open again. I'm sorry. Arceus yelled out in response as she ran off, chased by Giratina, who was going to punish her for forgetting to close her portal in his dimension, again. Forest 30 miles away from Konoha. Naruto, in a flash of white, appeared in the forest. After landing on the ground, Naruto leant on a tree for support as he felt dizzy. Man, it's going to be a while before I get used to that, Naruto said, groaning. Shaking his head to knock out the cobwebs, Naruto stood up and looked around. I'm hunting a camp, so that means a group of people. So let's get to work. Naruto's eyes suddenly glowed blue, a sky blue color, and watched as the world around him became different. Instead of the colors of the world, all he saw was the outline of objects and a blue energy flowing through said objects. The blue energy was the life energy, or aura, of the objects. After sensing for a few more moments, Naruto felt a large group of people in single area. Got them, he said before taking off into the trees. Naruto-Uzumaki Namikaze was ready for battle. Namikaze compound. Everyone has just finished training for the day. Kushina was making ramen, while trying to make one of the hardest decisions of her life. Miso or pork. Minato Namikaze had to leave, back to his office, due to a meeting being called. Apparently the civilian council wants funding for more civilian stores to be built. Mito was taking a shower to wash off a hard day's work of sweat and mud. Nami on the other hand was bored, already having taken a shower. Suddenly she remembered something very important. She had a brother. Due to all the training she had been going through recently, she had forgot all about him. He would play with her. With that thought in mind, she got up from the couch and went towards the stairs to her older brother's room. Where are you going, Nami-chan? Kushina asked her daughter, seeing her going towards the stairs. Oh, I'm just going to see if Naruto wants to play with me, she replied as she ran up the steps to play with her brother. The mere thought of him playing with her made her smile, since they haven't gotten time to actually be siblings due to all the training. Kushina on the other hand looked confused for a second. Naruto, she thought before her eyes widened in realization, shock, horror, and finally guilt. Oh my god, Naruto. I forgot my own Sochi-kun. How could I forget about my only son? What kind of mother am I? She continued this mental thought for a while. Naruto, her sweet baby boy, never crossed her mind. The one to give light to her world, was completely forgotten. She looked at the setup on the table and felt even more guilt. 4 bowls, 5 chairs. The chair that they used for guests, but not their own son. Kushina couldn't feel any lower than she does right now. If anyone asked her something about Naruto, she wouldn't be able to answer the question because she didn't know anything. She could name off all of Mito's and Nami's likes, dislikes, future plans, favorite colors and foods, but when she thought of Naruto's, she drew a blank due to having no answers. No matter how hard she thought or how much she prayed to find an answer to anything regarding Naruto personally, she got nothing. She couldn't even think if he liked ramen or not. She began to cry and sob. How could I forget my son? I have to talk to Minato. We have to make things right again. Ka-san, Mito-chan. Came a slightly panicked cry from upstairs. Kushina instantly knew it was Nami, so she dropped what she was doing and ran upstairs in a matter of seconds. She found both her daughters looking into a room with worry effect on their faces. Kushina walked over to the room with worry and feeling herself getting more anxious with each step. What's wrong, honey? Kushina asked in as calm a tone as she possibly could. Naruto's gone. I can't find him anywhere. Nami yelled out, causing Kushina's worry to increase. Kushina looked into her son's room, only for her guilt and worry to grow even more. Naruto's room was extremely bare, to be blunt. There was nothing there to indicate that a young boy lived there. The bed was small and neatly made. Not a crease could be found on it anywhere. There was a hamper by the door, but no dirty clothes were there. There was no posters on the walls, no papers anywhere. The room itself was a dull blue that could be mistaken for gray. The desk had a small book on it, but it looked like it hadn't been opened in years, if the collected dust on it was anything to go by. Kushina walked over to the book and read the title, Survival Tactics, Surviving Alone in the Wild. The title was enough to scare her. Picking up the book, a piece of paper fell out as it floated gently to the ground. Picking up the paper, Kushina saw it was a picture. Looking at it, Kushina nearly burst into tears at what was in the picture. It was a picture of the family, all with happy smiles on their faces. Kushina wore her usual outfit, the green dress with a brown apron over it and her hair brushed down. In front of her was Mito in a white dress and her usual ponytail. To her left was Minato in his Hokage outfit and Nami, who was wearing a blue dress, on his shoulders. What made her cry was that Naruto was nowhere in the picture. This picture was a year old and even said Namikaze family on the top, but Naruto was nowhere to be found. Kushina couldn't take it anymore. She let out a cry and sob as she realized just how bad a mother she was. She channeled chakra into her ring, activating the seal inside it. She needed to speak to Minato now. Near the bandit camp, Naruto stood on a tree branch, overlooking the bandit camp. It was a relatively normal campsite with around 15 tents and 2 fire pits that looked to have been used for the previous night. What made Naruto livid was what was at the edge of the camp. It was 3 medium-sized cages with iron bars. Each cage contained 5 girls whose ages ranged from 1 6-year-old in the middle cage and the rest being about 11 to 16. They all wore rags that barely hid their modesty from the world. Naruto decided it would be safest to wait until the sun set a little more, giving him more cover. I can't be too careful in a possible hostage situation, Naruto said mentally. I'll wait for about 2 hours, then I'll get them out of there and make those vile men pay. 2 hours have passed and the sun had set enough to where it was tougher to see the surrounding area. The sky had become darker thanks to rising moon, though the sun was still in the sky slightly. The bandits have become drunk in this time frame and on occasion, harassed their prisoner. Thankfully they did not lay their hands on them yet. Apparently they planned to sell the girls to a guy named Gato as slaves. Naruto vowed to find this man and kill him. Jumping down from his perch and landing silently, Naruto hid behind a bush and made his way to the captured girls. Pissed, behind you, Naruto whispered, gaining the attention of the girls who looked in his direction. Naruto put his finger to his lips to keep them quiet. I'm here to get you all out of here. What I have planned for your captors is not pretty, so keep the youngest from seeing. They nodded, though skeptical since Naruto was still a kid himself, but what did they have to lose, and blindfolded the 6-year-old girl, who Naruto heard was named Cynthia. Walking away from the cages, Naruto concentrated his aura to his hand before releasing his first attack. Vine Whip, Naruto whispered. His palm glowed green for a second before green vines shot out from them and wrapped around one of the nearby thugs and tugged him towards the bushes. Pulling out a kunai, Naruto stabbed it through the back of the thug's neck, killing him instantly. Feeling his stomach churn at the sight of the man he killed, Naruto had to swallow down the urge to vomit. He just killed someone, even if he deserved it. He killed a living person. He's become a monster. His hands began to shake as he began to dry heave, the urge to vomit becoming too much to handle. He looked at his shaking hands and the sight of the bloody mess on the ground. He was a monster, a killer, a murderer. Turning his head, he saw the sight of the imprisoned girls and saw that their once broken eyes were now filled with a glimmer of hope. They found hope in the fact that he said he will free them. Taking a deep breath, Naruto remembered why he was doing this. He was doing this to save those girls, he was doing this to give them a chance, he was doing this to eliminate the trash that littered the beautiful world. Naruto's eyes snapped back to his usual determined look, with a new fire lit in his eyes. Taking a deep breath and focusing his aura once more, he shot his hands forward as he called out his next attack. Whirlwind. This time his glowing palms released a powerful burst of wind that not only blew the bandits away but the tents and fire pits too. The bandits screamed out in surprise and confusion as some slammed into trees or simply tumbled forward. 2 bandits died as their spines snapped as it slammed into a tree directly. What the hell was that? One of the thugs yelled out before a kunai was embedded into his forehead, killing him. Seeing the kunai, one of the thugs got nervous. Oh shit, it's a ninja. He knew they were in trouble since none of them were trained well enough to fight a ninja. I'm out of here. He got up to run, only for his jugular to be cut open by another kunai slicing through its flesh, and the last thing he saw was cold blue eyes before his vision went dark. Hearing the body hit the floor, the remaining thugs turned to it, only to see Naruto standing there while slightly coated in the blood of his recent victim. What the fuck? It's just some damn kid. Another thug yelled out angrily. Naruto only looked at the thug coldly before tightening the grip on his kunai before whispering. Quote. Quick attack, and Naruto moved in a blur too fast for any of them to see. The thug that yelled angrily found himself no longer able to breathe, looking down with eyes to find Naruto had stabbed his kunai through his heart. The thug fell back dead. Naruto looked around to find that he only had about 9 of the thugs left, so who's next? Kill that brat, a very muscular thug yelled. This caused each one to charge at Naruto, thinking he would be easy since he was a kid. That was a big mistake. One of the thugs came upon Naruto and launched his fist towards Naruto's face, but Naruto ducked out of the way and tripped him easily. Sensing someone behind him, Naruto rolled forward as another thug tried to grab him. Naruto had no time to rest though, as another thug swung his feet towards Naruto's face, who jumped and slammed his on the thug's legs before jumping off and released another vine whip. The vines quickly wrapped around the thug easily, before Naruto flung him into 3 other thugs. You should have been more careful, release. Naruto released a pulse of chakra. Hearing a hissing sound, the thug looked at his leg and saw an exploding tag on the left leg that Naruto slammed his hands onto earlier. The 4 thugs' eyes widened before the tag exploded, killing all 4 of them. Naruto leaned back, not having time to admire his handiwork, dodging a log that one of the thugs picked up for a weapon. This is too easy, Naruto smirked. Charging towards the thug, who brought the log up to block Naruto, the blonde smirked before yelling out. Not going to work, rock smash. Naruto's fist quickly glowed of brown-white before easily smashing through the log and hitting the thug in the face, whose neck snapped upon impact. The thugs took a step back in fear as Naruto's eyes glowed blue with aura once more. Just what the hell is this kid? Were the last thoughts of the thugs before a cold wind blew and froze them all solid. Icy wind, Naruto whispered as his breathing became a bit shaggy. Naruto may have a lot of stamina, but he wasn't used to doing so many attacks one after the other like that yet. Add to the fact that Icy Wind was used on multiple targets instead of just one and he added more power to the attack to be sure that it would freeze them all, made him really tired. Naruto activated his Rock Smash attack once more and crushed the remaining frozen thugs. Now to save those girls, Naruto said before running to the camp's direction again. Namikaze compound. Minato Namikaze has just flashed into his home next to his distraught wife, worry etched into his face. He had been walking his way home, enjoying the peace after having to deal with the annoying council meeting, when he felt a sudden pull from one of Hiraishin's seals. This worried him since the pull trail, a trail that he can follow when of his seals is activated, led to the compound. Not wasting a second, he flashed to his house and saw his wife on the ground and crying along with his 2 daughters. Kushina-chan, what's wrong? Minato asked, holding his wife in his arms. Talk to me, what happened? Kushina looked into Minato's eyes as her tears continued to fall. Minato, I'm such a horrible mother. With each sobbing word, her tears flowed at a faster rate, until her cheeks were covered in tears. Her eyes were red from all her crying and her nose was beginning to look puffy. Minato's heart broke upon seeing his wife in such a state, but at the same time he was confused by her words. A horrible mother. What happened to make her think such a thing? He looked to his daughters, who were also crying while holding onto each other for comfort. Kushina-chan, you know that isn't true. Ever since their birth, you've done an amazing job raising Nami and Mito. I mean, look at them, so young and yet already they are both talented and beautiful. All our family outings and special occasions that you catch on camera and never miss a single one. I doubt I could raise our 2 wonderful children into the amazing girls that they are becoming if I was alone, while also being Hokage. You are a wonderful mother, Kushina. Kushina's eyes widened as her mind raced at Minato's words and not in joy like he may think. Our daughters, 2 children, special occasions. Each time it was only Mito and Nami, but what about her son? I have never missed our daughter's special moments growing up, but what about our son's special moments? Oh Minato, what have we done? Kushina opened her mouth to voice these questions yet no words came out, only more yelling of sadness and regret. Minato was caught off guard by Kushina's yell of anguish. What did I say? Minato was thoroughly confused now. He figured his words would help make things better, not worse. Even his daughters seemed to be crying louder now too. I really don't understand, woman. Kushina-chan, please, tell me what is going on so I can help you. Minato-kun, it's Naruto. Kushina managed to finally yell out through her sobbing, which by the way left a huge wet spot on Minato's vest. Naruto. Minato thought before his eyes widened in realization and worry. The young Kage finally took notice of where he was and realized that this was not his daughters, or the guest room, this was his son's. This desolate, plain room belonged to his only son. Kushina, tell me, what happened to Naruto? Minato slowly began having a sinking feeling in his heart. Fighting back another sob, Kushina explained what she noticed. From forgetting to feed Naruto, to forgetting that he was even their son. Hearing each word spoken, Minato felt his regret, shame, and guilt rise. He was a Hokage, and one of the best that Konoha has had, and yet he completely forgot about his own son. He never meant to forget Naruto, he just wanted the best for everyone. He had to do something. Kushina-chan, Mito-chan, Nami-chan, Minato began, getting the attention of the crying Uzumaki girls. Where is Naruto-kun right now? He had to make things right again. The one who answered was Nami, who shakily stood up from crying along with Mito. We don't know. I came here to play with Oni-chan, but I couldn't find him or anything that said he was even there in the first place. Fresh tears began to flow from her eyes. She was worried that her older brother ran away. Unknowing that her sister had the same worry etched into her heart as well. What if their elder sibling ran off because of them? Minato, deciding that they needed to talk to Naruto as soon as possible, made a quick hand sign as he focused. He searched for the Hiraishin seal that is placed on all of his children's clothing, that way if they were in trouble he could flash to them or call them to him. Finding the seal he was searching for, which was worryingly out of the village but thankfully still within his range, and made hand signs as he gathered his chakra. Flying Thunder God. Stage 3, Summoning. He threw a tri-pronged kunai onto the ground and watched as it glowed, and in a flash of yellow, Naruto appeared, causing the family to gasp in worry at his appearance. His hair was messy and his eyes widened in shock. He was sweaty and his clothing was ruffled and ripped in different places. Also signs of cuts from a blade could be identified easily, but what made them gasp was the blood. The blood that slightly dripped from his body was fresh. He had cuts and bruises throughout his body, though they were healing at a slow rate. He gripped a kunai in his left hand that had fresh blood drip from it. Minato was shocked. Kushina had more tears fall from her eyes, which also held motherly fury at the sight of her hurt child. Nami and Mito were both scared at the sight of their brother being hurt, and determination in their eyes to make the culprit pay for doing so. Looking around, Naruto was confused. One moment he's fighting for his life against a dangerous opponent and the next he appears in a random location. What the hell is going on? Naruto voiced his confusion as he turned to face his family. What the hell am I doing here? Thanks for your listening. I do hope you enjoy. If you guys enjoyed and you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below and turn on the bell notifications. And also check out the other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.